Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 26th, 2023 East Brunswick Township Council regular meeting. Will everyone please rise as we salute the flag with our Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of reflection. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you. Township Clerk, would you please call roll and read our statement of adequate notice?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Councilwoman Winston.
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki. Here. Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Criscullo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Excuse me, I beg your pardon.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Resolution number 23-190, adopting our minutes from our June 12th meeting. May I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Any need for clarification, changes, or modifications from council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have three ordinances for a second reading. Township Clerk, would you read 23-17?
A capital ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick appropriating $3,675,000 from the Sewer Utility Capital Improvement Fund to provide for various sewer utility improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I'll now open this to the public for comment. Comment on ordinance 23-17 and this ordinance only. Anyone from the public? Close this portion. Does council have any comments? Township Clerk, will you please call a roll?
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Township Clerk, would you please read ordinance 23-18?
A capital ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,500,400 from the Water Utility Capital Improvement Fund to provide for various water utility improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
And a second?
Second.
I'll now open this up to the public on this ordinance 23-18 and this ordinance only. I'm going to close the public portion. As council, how many comments? We've reviewed this with Mr. Criscullo at our last council meeting. Township Clerk, you please call roll.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. And our third ordinance, second reading, ordinance 23-19. Township Clerk, would you please read?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 75 of the Township's Uniform Construction Codes of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of East Brunswick.
And we'll open this to the general public for ordinance 23-19 and this ordinance only. Seeing no one, we'll close the public portion. And Township Clerk, would you, the motion be?
Move to adopt.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And a roll. Thank you.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. We'll move into our reports section and for our meeting this evening, and our Mayor Cohn.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple of announcements. First, I just wanted to let the public know that Finance Department was notified today that we now have a double A+ rating with S&P, and we have an A+ rating with Moody's, which means that we, as a township, have about as good a credit rating as one could get. That has important implications because when it comes to financing, it allows the town to go out and finance at some of the lowest rates possible. That's something that helps us do our capital projects on a regular basis. It will help us ultimately with any financing for ice rink, which will come before council in the next meeting or so. Schools use the town's great credit rating to do a lot of their financing, which allows them to do projects at a much lower cost, saving in the end significant money for taxpayers. So I give all that credit to the department for working hard as a team to make sure that we provide to those agencies a town that's extraordinarily well run. They look at the fact that we're 99% in terms of collection ratio. Our debt ratio is low. We pay our bills on time. We have multiple years with this type of experience, and it pays dividends to the township over the long haul. So I thank the department for their excellent work. Also wanted to make mention to the public that we recently did a ribbon cutting in the towers for United Healthcare. They've moved a headquarters here to East Brunswick in the towers, which goes along with the concept of the idea of redevelopment 2.0, where we're looking to bring businesses to this corridor to take advantage of our location and to hopefully provide what we already have here, which is the talent pool to help keep these industries going and bring them here, which of course helps ultimately for the tax base and to keep East Brunswick the type of community that we want it to be in terms of being attractive to people with families and children and the schools and all the qualities that people find welcoming here in East Brunswick. I want to also give a hearty congratulations to the class of 2023, which just graduated last week from the high school. It was another banner graduation, so congratulations to all the students, parents, and of course the schools for another great year. And finally, just wanted to make the announcement that we do, as a rule, continue to look for student input and cooperation on our boards and commissions and different councils that we have here throughout the township. I think that we've made a pretty giant effort to include students on committees such as our planning board and our zoning board and on the Human Relations Council and Environmental Commission, because at the end of the day, most government is local, and the students totally enjoy the ability to be able to participate in the things that they see immediately happening in their own town. So with the graduation of the class of 2023, there are now spots that are open on some of our boards and commissions. So anybody that has an interest in participating, they can't be voting members, but they're certainly more than welcome to participate, contribute, and hopefully get a good learning experience out of working with those of us here in the township that are trying to make important decisions for the next. I guess I ran out of time. So,
Not me.
anyway, that was my report, Council President. Thank you very much.
Court. Just ignore it. To try and get the court for some reason.
Someone's calling. I'm not answering. Mayor, kudos to the staff and to the department for the hard work that everyone puts in to come up with this AAA bond rating so that we can move forward towards the mayor's vision with some of the exciting things, such like you're saying, the ice skating rink, which will be coming before us soon. But before, am I going to do anything? Ignore it, okay. Okay. Our business administrator, Mr. Crisculo?
Yes, just a couple of quick things to remind the public that if you want to dispose of mattresses, It has to be in a mattress bag. I've gotten a couple calls from people that said they didn't pick up the mattress, I left it out for 2 weeks. It has to be in a bag in order to do so, and it will be picked up on the second collection in the summertime. The other item regarding recycling doesn't belong in plastic bags or garbage bags or whatever, so it's got to be seen. The sorting material at the plant cannot sort it if it's in a bag. And as a reminder, branch collection is done once a month, and you must call the Department of Public Works at 732-390-6984 to be placed on the collection list. Residents could also drop it off at the dump. Once again, if you leave it curbside, it has to be no longer than 4 feet and weigh no more than 50 pounds. It is collected separately from solid waste. And we also remind people, we have 4th of July coming up, and I'll leave that for the council liaison to the Recreation Board to talk more about that, just to remind people. That's all, sir.
Our attorney, Mr. Baker?
Nothing to report, but I would like to add on to what the mayor said. My daughter did serve on one of those committees. It was a police review committee in her senior year in high school, and it was invaluable. She still talks about it, and she's going into her junior year. So it was memorable, and I encourage students who are graduating now or are still in high school to apply for those positions.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Our Township Clerk, Ms. Lawful.
I have nothing to report.
Council members, any committee reports or board reports?
Other than, yes, we are having our 4th of July celebration. Looking forward to everybody coming out and enjoying the fireworks and the festivities before that. I don't know, Mr. Criscola, was there anything? We did not have a meeting prior, so.
I didn't want to take
no.
your report.
Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, just usual 4th of July, the rain date is the 5th. Just be patient, exiting. I mean, everybody's in one site. We go through this every year.
There's specific directions.
Specific
right?
routes, follow the direction of the East Brunswick Police Department. That's all.
Okay. Let's move on to our public comments section. Township Clerk, would you please read the public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the chair? Sir, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, other members of the East Brunswick Administration.
Would you kindly give us your name and your address, sir?
My name is James York. I'm a resident of 9 Gates Avenue in East Brunswick,
Thank you.
and I'm here to make you aware of a situation that a lot of the residents within that area are concerned with. We give you a little bit of background. I don't want to take up too much time, but I've been in Gates Avenue since 1971, and when I moved in, built my house there was a church across the street. And during the time from 1971 until just recent, well, not recently, but within a couple of years ago, there was never a problem. The church is a small church, small facilities, very little parking, but the congregations have always been small and blended into the neighborhood very well. Never a problem. As a matter of fact, I doubt whether anybody ever brought an issue before the council or even other department heads concerning the church's activities. There have been several different congregations in there since I built my house in '71. Now we're at a situation where the church has a congregation, St. Mary's, St. Stephen's, and apparently the congregation is substantially larger than any of the other previous congregations in the church. I'm not sure whether there's been any interaction between the township officials and the church officials prior to them establishing themselves within the church, but the situation is not good. It's not good for the residents in particular. Now, what happens is during normal services at the church, there's not usually a major problem. There's on-street parking because they have so little off-street parking. And there seems to be an issue with a adjoining piece of property that they purchased that is just sitting there. They're not doing anything with it at the present time. I don't know what the plans are. I tried to find out a little more information, but I wasn't successful as to what the situation is with the church and the town and what's going on with that. But anyway, the major issues arise when we're confronted with what they call their carnival days. And it gets pretty bad when for the 2-day period that these carnivals are ongoing. And it's an issue where, like on Gates Avenue, which is, I'm right across the street from the church, it's tough getting in and out of my driveway. It's tough getting in and out of the street, per se, and that goes back for several blocks either way. There's traffic congestion, a lot of pedestrian traffic. It's a big change from where it's been for the past 40, 50 years. But I'm concerned about how it developed. I don't, if somebody could let me know if there was any interaction between the church officials and the township representatives concerning establishing their parish or their church at that location, I would appreciate it. But anyway, I'm here to bring it to your attention. They do attempt to control it a little bit, but I mean, they have a pretty active congregation, and like I say, during certain periods of the services, and especially during the carnivals, it's really bad. Matter of fact, right now, I have a picture in my camera, but they have these huge traffic barrels that they use to try to facilitate
30 seconds remaining.
I'm out of time?
30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chase, 30 seconds.
Anyway, the street is lined with these, they're on the street right now, and because they just had a carnival, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but they're still on the street. It looks more like a major construction area. It looks like something that's going on Route 18 right now with these big barrels. There's at least a dozen of them, probably 1 or 2 more. And to me, it's inappropriate. I understand their situation because there's no parking there. The paved lot is approximately 15 to 20 cars, if that. And adjoining the south side of the building is a large open area, a piece of property that they've had since the church was built, that they stack maybe during heavy services or carnivals, they'll stack another probably 20 25 to 35 cars in there if they can get them in. And then the streets become heavily parked and difficult to navigate. Many times they're completely, especially Gates Avenue, it's completely blocked because people are coming in, dropping people off. Traffic gets pretty bad. But anyway, it's a big change. I think it's inappropriate for the area that it's in. I don't know what we can do about it, but I would suggest that possibly if there's an issue with the property that they recently purchased, if we could somehow require them, before they have any more carnivals, to improve the off-street parking facilities that they may have.
Sir, you have exceeded your time limit unless our council president wants you to proceed.
All right, just finish it up, Mr. Chase.
I'm sorry?
Finish your comments.
Okay. So I'm thinking that if we could do something in that regard, that might be helpful, not to the church, obviously, but to the residents. And other than that, I would like to suggest maybe assigning a particular department head. I know whenever they have these carnivals, they have a permit, and I know each department, a lot of the different department heads from the township are forced to sign off on it. If we could have one of those department heads establish a relationship with...
In terms of making a recommendation for what our professionals can do, we'll leave that to the professionals. What I would like for you to do is to make sure you give me your phone number before we leave this chamber so that Mr. Criscuolo can get back to you in a timely fashion with some ideas regarding rectifying both the sides of the church and the sides of the residents.
I could give it to you right now.
I don't want to do that over the microphone and we're on television, we're live on TV. I do not, it's bad enough that I have to ask you for your address.
Okay.
But
Well, okay,
I'll meet with you after the meeting.
very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Sir?
Mr. Mayor, just have one quick question, being that Joe brought it up.
Tom, you
about-
want to leave your name, please, and
Tom
address?
Ingrasani, 58 Deerfield Road.
Thank you.
A question about recycling and garbage. If you have to get rid of garbage pails, plastic garbage pails that are broken, how do you go about that? And the second question would be, if you have metal chairs for patio chairs, is that steel or is it garbage? Where do you put that?
Mr. Criscuolo, if you wouldn't mind.
The quickest way for residents to know what goes where is there's the recycle coach that is paid for by the state of New Jersey. And if you put in there what item you want to dispose of, it will tell you how to properly dispose of that. I believe that chairs, if they're metal, you can call and arrange for a pickup. Better if you just drop them off at the yard and put them in the metal dumpster. And for the cans, it's a little bit of a tricky one. As somebody had asked me that as well. If you could put it into a garbage bag, like a large industrial garbage bag, that's the best way, or affix some kind of note on it. They're very leery about taking cans, and they're also very leery of people that put notes on it, because they said in years past, there was kids going around putting on people's garbage cans, please throw this out. So, best for that is either bring it to the yard or put it in an industrial garbage bag, which you can get at, Lowe's and Home Depot.
Sometimes if we get them on time, can I tell them and they can?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So as far as chairs, I think the ones that have aluminum, they're worth money, so I don't know what to do with either.
Yeah. I mean, you could call the recycling yard at, and they'll call you back, 732-390-6984, and they can give you further
All
direction.
right, thanks very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Anyone else wishing to address the chair? I'm going to close the public portion. Moving on to our budget amendment and budget adoption, Resolution 23-191. Was there Township Clerk, would you please read what needs to be read?
The title, resolution authorizing the reading of the 2023 municipal budget amendment by title only.
May I have a motion? Motion. And second? Second. Any township discussion, any council discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall? Yes. Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes, Resolution 23-192. Township Clerk, would you please read what is necessary for the record?
Resolution authorizing the adoption of the amendment to the municipal budget of the Township of East Brunswick for calendar year 2023. Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2023 was approved on introduction on the 27th day of March 2023, and the budget amendment was approved on introduction on the 22nd day of May 2023. And whereas the public hearing on the said budget and the budget amendment has been held as advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend the said introduced budget, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the following amendments to the approved introduced budget of 2023 be made as follows. This is going to be quite extensive. General revenues, current fund and cap. 1, surplus anticipated, sheet 4, number 1, $3,200,000 to $3,850,000. Total change, $650,000. Miscellaneous, Section D, special items of general revenue, anticipated with prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services, shared service agreements, interlocal agreement, shared services agreement with EMS Borough of South River, $22,000. Total change, negative $22,000. Total Section D, shared service agreements offset with appropriations, budget sheet 7, from $113,600 to $91,600. Total change, negative $22,000. Interlocal service agreement, shared services agreement, EMS Borough of South River, from $0 to $22,000. Total change plus $22,000. Commodity resale, from $650,000 to $0. Total change, negative $650,000. Section G, special items of general revenue anticipated, with prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services. Other special items, sheet 10, from $19,976,713.61 to $19,348,713.61. Total change, negative $628,000. Amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget. Local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, from $42,457,070.44 to $42,457,070.43. Total change, negative a penny. Total general budget revenue, from $80,508,823.87 to $80,508,823.86. Total change, negative a penny. General appropriations within cap. Sheet 15, emergency management, salaries and wages. Sheet 15, 15D, $94,660.94 to $107,060.91. Total change, $12,400. Fuel, oil, and gasoline, from $465,750 to $569,250. Total change, $103,500. Summary of general appropriations. Sheet 30, H1, total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps. $56,194,573.07 to $56,310,473.07. Total change, $115,900. General appropriations excluded from cap. Sheet 20, gasoline and diesel exclusion, from $204,250 to $100,750. Total change, minus $103,500. Total other operations excluded from caps, sheet 20, from $5,337,596 to $5,234,096. Total change, $103,500. Negative, I should say. Sheet 22, shared services agreement, from $55,000 to $42,600. Total change, negative $12,400. Total interlocal municipal service agreements, sheet 22, from $104,000 to $91,600. Total change, minus $12,400. Summary of general appropriations, sheet 30, A, operations excluded from cap. Total operations excluded from cap, $8,689,277.94 to $8,573,377.94. Total change, $115,900. Sheet 27, municipal debt service excluded from caps. Interest on notes, $387,182 to $387,192. Total change, plus $10. Municipal debt service, from $11,209,862 to $11,209,872. Total change, plus $10. Total general appropriations, from $76,858,713.01 to $76,858,723.01. Total change, $10, plus $10. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $3,650,110.86 to $3,650,100.85. Total change, minus $10.01. Total general appropriations, $80,508,823.87 to $80,508,823.86. Total change, a penny, minus a penny. Water utility appropriations. Appropriations for water utility deferred charges, emergency authorizations, from $0 to $650,000. Total change, plus $650,000. Deficit operations in prior years, from $650,000 to $0. Total change, negative $650,000. Total water utility appropriations, $13,900,000, or from $13,900,000 to $13,900,000. Total change, $0. Pool utility appropriations. Appropriations for pool utility, debt service, payment on bond anticipated notes and capital notes, $198,030. And this is transferred, well, from $198,030 to $0. Total change, minus $198,030 $30. Deferred charges, emergency appropriations from $0 to $198,030. Total change, $198,030. Total pool utility appropriations, $1,800,000. Or from $1,800,000 to $1,800,000. Total change, $0. And lastly, parking utility appropriations. Appropriations of parking utility, debt service, payment on bond anticipated notes and capital notes, $273,369 to $0. Total change, minus $273,369. Deferred charges, emergency appropriations from $0 to $273,369. Total change plus $273,369. Total parking utility appropriations, $3,630,000 to $3,630,000. Total change, $0.
Thank you. Take a sip of water.
Well done.
Right. Well done. Well done, reading those numbers. May I have a motion? Motion approved. And a second. I'll open this to the public, and this resolution only, 23-192. Anyone from the public? No one from the public. I'll close the public portion. Any council discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall? Yes. Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Resolution 23-193. Township Clerk, would you please read?
Resolution authorizing the adoption of the municipal budget of the Township of East Brunswick for calendar year 2023.
May I have a motion?
So
Oh, I'm
moved.
sorry.
Holding it both out.
You're good? No,
I have-
you have a little more to read?
Yes. Thank you. Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the 2023 budget as set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $42,457,070.43 for municipal purposes, and $2,875,832 minimum library levy. Summary of revenues, general revenues, surplus anticipated, $3,850,000. Miscellaneous revenues anticipated, $29,770,921.43. Receipts from delinquent taxes, $1,555,000. Amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purposes, $42,457,070.43. Amount to be raised by taxation, minimum library levy, $2,875,832. Total revenues, $80,508,823.86. Summary of appropriations. General appropriations within caps. Operations including contingency, $46,450,206.07. Deferred charges and statutory expenditures. Municipal, $9,860,267. Excluded from caps, operations. Total operations excluded from caps, $8,573,377.94. Capital improvements, $765,000. Municipal debt service, $11,209,872. Reserve for uncollected taxes, include other reserve, if any, $3,650,100.85. Total appropriations, $8,508,823. I'm sorry, $8,508,823.86. Thank you.
And everything that you heard for the past 5 minutes, that is required by law, that we recite those numbers to you. The certification, does that need to be read?
No.
We're good? Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adopt.
And a second?
Second.
Any council discussion on this? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. Anything need to be separated or clarified before we surrender 23-199 through the rest? Anything for separation? Seeing none. Can I have a motion for, let me get these numbers,
23-194.
23-194 through 23-206? Get a motion for that?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Any discussion on any of those items? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Introduction of new ordinances, ordinance 23-21, Township Clerk.
20.
I'm sorry?
23-20.
So it's 23-20? Oh, I had it crossed off, but it's not crossed off. It's a lot.
2320, the mid-block is on the agenda.
Okay, so let's begin with ordinance 23-20. Township Clerk?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 209, Section 65, entitled Schedule 26, Mid-Block Crossings of the Code of the Township of East Brunswick to add a mid-block crosswalk designation on Fern Road.
Mr. Crisculo, would you care to share
Sure.
some thoughts?
If you recall, I think approximately, I'm sorry. If you recall, approximately a year and a half, 2 years ago, some of the residents along Ferd Road recognized that there was a long stretch between where there was a crosswalk to get from one side of Fern Road to the other. And we were able to make this, working with the police department and Keith, when we were paving the remaining portion from the bridge until Cranberry Road, we were able to put in a mid-block crosswalk. So I worked with Lieutenant Gordon. Now that it is completed, we have to put it in the code, so just in case a police officer is out there and somebody violates, do not, stop when somebody's in the walk. You got to have it in your ordinances and in your code. So we're just effectuating that to recognize it as a certified crosswalk within the township. That's all this is for, sir.
Get a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Before we take a vote, do you want to mention?
Yes, so I just want to clarify that the public hearing for ordinance 23-20, as well as ordinance 23-21, will be on Monday, July 10th. The agenda currently states July 11th, which is incorrect. The public hearing will be held on July 10th, which is a Monday. Thank you.
So for ordinance 23-20, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Ordinance 23-21.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 209, Section 44, entitled Schedule 5, Time Limit Parking of the Code of the Township of East Brunswick to enforce time limit parking on certain sections of Willow Street.
Motion. And a second? Mr. Crisculo?
Yeah, this was working with Lieutenant Gordon, recognizing that some people were parking there to commute to the city on that particular roadway. He recommended that we do a 3-hour, or I'm sorry, a 2-hour time limit, 120 minutes on those roadway to try to ensure that they weren't being used by commuter parkers. We got 2 parking decks that have available space, and this was the, work with the residents in that community, so the road wasn't just filled with cars with people are parking there and then commuting to New York. That's all, sir. This is recommended by Lieutenant Gordon.
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Oh, we did. Roll call.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
For the good of the cause? Mayor?
Just wanted council to know, and of course the township as well, that I'm in the process of putting together a series explaining property taxes and how it's derived, how to read your bill, history of property taxes, because after listening to that very extensive process that we just had to go through, to think that we as a township have to work and decide and finally approve a budget in June for the year that you're actually already working in, which sounds ridiculous because it is, to try to figure out what it means to be in the cap, out of the cap, exactly. All of these, they're just very, very complicated. When people get tax bills, it's very difficult to decipher how much of that is coming from each different taxing body, of which, as you all know, the township only represents about 20% of the tax bill. We have zero control over the school budget, the county budget, fire districts. We're just a collecting agency. We get the bills from all of those agencies, we send them out, we collect the money, and we send it to the people that build it. We have zero control over any of those numbers. But I think that the average person gets a bill and opens it, just looks at the total, and since it only comes once a year, many people have their taxes escrowed, so they don't really look at it regularly. It's very difficult to understand how the process works. So it is a meaty topic. I've put it into 4 different little 10-minute segments so that it's easier for people to understand and to sit down and listen to. The first segment is going to be on how to read the tax bill. The second segment is on what you get for the 20% of taxes that we have control over. This third segment is on the history of property taxes here in New Jersey and caps, what that means. And then the final segment, once you understand all of those, is an attempt to try to explain why taxes in New Jersey, property taxes in New Jersey, are relatively high compared to a lot of other states, and maybe some suggestions on things we can do to help fix that. So I think it's something worth listening to. I want to make that sure that people look forward to that, and especially as tax bills start to come out, which is generally July, August-ish. So wanted you to be aware of it, and I just think it's such a meaty topic. Whenever anybody has any complaint about things in town, and of course things come up from time to time that bubble to the surface and come back down, they are fleeting for the most part. But if you ask people on average, their biggest issue, it's always taxes. And so I think it's time that we take a stab at it and try to explain to everybody how it actually works, because it's really trying to make something that's complicated a little bit easier to understand.
And Mayor Cohen, where will the residents be able to see this?
It'll be a YouTube that's being put together by EBTV. By tomorrow, we should have finished 3 of the 4 segments. And the 4th one, I don't think will take very long to do. And they will start coming out on social media and on EBTV within the next, I would say, 2 weeks.
Thank you. Mr. Criscuolo?
Yes, my yearly thank you to the department heads and Angel and her staff. Angel is here this evening, our Chief Financial Officer. We start working on this budget in September, right around mid-September, and it's a ever-going process to come up with what the numbers are and our capital plan and so on. Certainly isn't done by one person, it's done by a lot of people. Come the end of the year, a lot of it moves over to the finance department, not only to true up our records for the prior year, but then to work on the actual budget itself and get it to the state for review. So just from me, a heartfelt thank you to all the department heads and to Angel and and the staff in the finance office, and naturally Tamar, who's got to get this all read into the record and memorialize it and then eventually get it up to the county. That will then eventually strike our tax rate, and as soon as we get that, we'll get that all to you. So I'd like to thank all the members of the township staff. They do an outstanding job for us, day in and day out. I couldn't be more proud to be the administrator for this town. And my second thank you is to the council. When you have confidence in your team, and the council is confident in the numbers that we give to you, we try to be very open and to the public and to you all, and just to thank you for the time you take to come in, look at the budget, meet with staff, and be educated about the process, including taking classes and seminars and everything else. It's nice when you're in a town where the council looks at the budget and finally adopts it with a 5-0. So my heartfelt thank you to the staff for allowing us to serve you and for your confidence in the team. It's much appreciated as well.
Anyone else? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Good night.